Hi, this is Ken Schwartz of Precise Sharpening, and I'm going to continue on with presenting some of the Nubatama stones. In particular, this one is from the Bamboo series. You can see it's a Nubatama Bamboo. This is the 6000 grit Nubatama Bamboo stone. So again, we'll go over some initial impressions. Smooth stone. Similar to the 4000, it will smooth out just a little bit after the first few strokes on a stone. What I'm going to be doing today is to continue on with the Nubatama white steel practice knife that I have. It's a deba. Continue to refine it just a little bit more, and also so that's a white number 2 steel, and then also this is one of my knives. It's a Nenox. It's a 230 millimeter sujihiki, one of the earliest Japanese knives that I purchased. This is purportedly a VG1 steel. So we're going to go and try them both out and see how it compares both to the 4000 and to other stones that I'm familiar with. Here we go. Let's again do the porosity, and very similar to the 4000. You see a slight amount of absorption around the edge, but it's going to be very slowly absorbing and not an extremely porous stone. So we can pretty much consider this splash and go. I'll put a little extra water on there, and let's let it sit for just a second. Again, not very much absorption at all, so let's start in on this, and we'll see. We're just starting to get some absorption. Okay, immediately we are seeing some metal removal along this area right here. Let's listen to it, and you'll see after a few strokes it'll actually get smoother. Yes, the stone's very much smoother now. So, okay, this is probably a little extra water than we need, but it will absorb a bit, and we'll go from there. Very nice, very smooth feel. Good metal removal rate. You'll notice as I do this, I do concentrate on putting some pressure near the very edge of the knife. Important on single bevels so that you don't mess up the shinogi line, which I mentioned earlier when I was doing the video on the 4000 grit stone. You can see the mud is building up. Very smooth. Okay, we've taken that initial glaze off the stone. Coarse lapping would be more accurate. Okay, and now we have an extremely smooth, very pleasurable stone. Somewhat reminiscent of the feel of the Chaucera stones. Harder than the super stones, for instance. Just a very smooth, pleasurable stone to work. Again, this is the 6000 grit stone. Very quiet stone, very consistent feel about it. A touch or so on the back. And you can see the water is really not absorbing too quickly anymore, so I would pretty much consider this sort of a splash and go style of stone, and not worry about any long soaking. You know, it comes up to full function very rapidly. Okay, let's see where we are on this. And looking at the mud, see very fine mud. Beginning to remove some of the contrast and replace it with a brighter, shinier mirror finish. Very nice sharp edge. Let's see how it cuts. Again, it's still a little wet, but very clean, very clean. Nice, sharp, puts on a good finish, very consistent stone. Now let's try something a little different. Okay, so. Sometimes you can see a little bit of burr, so we'll start with a little newer mud here. There we go. Okay, just examining the mud a little. Looks pretty clean now. So let's get going. There it is, right there. Okay. Not an extremely soft stone, but it does generate some mud. Splash and go. Very consistent. Altogether, a very pleasurable stone to work with. Puts a deer mirror to mirror sort of finish. Let's see how it does with a piece of paper. Obviously well on that. Clean, clean, clean. Another wonderful Nubatama stone. Quite pleased. I would imagine that this stone will work very well because it does abrade fairly quickly, even if you were jumping a good bit further than from a 4K stone. So this might work very well in a 1/6 combination or something, or a 2/6 type combination as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.